so she can give you an update. All right. Thank you.
What a beautiful talk about Humble High School. I first and foremost want to thank you all for welcoming me. This is my first year as the principal of Quest Early College High School, first year in Humble ISD, and I really want to say that this group of people, my experiences so far have been so indicative of the community that is Humble. There was the video, The Inspiring Moments, very recently about Humble ISD is family. That is so true. It is second to none. A little bit about Quest. We are the only early college high school in Humble ISD, and we are the best early college high school in the state of Texas. Having come from an early college high school in the Austin area, I know hands down about this program before I got here, but to see what unfolds on a daily basis at Quest Early College High School is absolutely magnificent. It's truly a privilege, a blessing, and an honor to be the principal of Quest. There are two things that I want to talk about specifically that make Quest really phenomenal. The foundational program of family. Everybody's probably pretty familiar with an advisory program in a middle school or a high school. We take advisory to all new levels. Family allows students to be with one specific teacher from 9th or 12th grade. They have a mix of students in that group. That family facilitator not only helps them with their advising in classes and management of their time, but also with growing as an individual, which is what's particularly unique about Quest. Really the whole child being emphasized in addition to the academic things that happen on the campus. The second thing I want to talk about is service. Early college, because we're in line with Lone Star College and Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday classes, we do have a unique opportunity that on Fridays, we get out in the community. The students come to the campus at 8:30. By 9 o'clock, they are on the buses going out into the community. At this point, we have over 40 service sites where our students are not just volunteering their time, but really applying their true skills and figuring out what they want to do in the future. For the most part, we're on elementary campuses, but I've seen Memorial Herman. We have some interns there. We have some interns at some architecture firms and different things going on in the community. So I really thank you all for that opportunity for our students to go out and work with you and really learn about themselves in ways beyond academics. To throw some highlights out, thank you, Kim. Last year, Quest had over $1.8 million in scholarships received by students. And I want to put it into context. Our senior class is under 100 students. So to have nearly $2 million in scholarships for about 88 students is absolutely phenomenal. Of that senior class, 67 students received their associate's degree. That is the core purpose of early college high school. They come in, we build them up, we support them, surround them, give them the academic tools that they need to earn an associate's. That's 60 college hours. So I did a little math when I was over there. Just those 67 students that earned their 60 credit hour associate's degree was 4,020 credit hours. But there were over 20 other students that were in range of getting their degree or had more than 40 college hours. So we're really doing something tremendous for the students, especially because everything about it is free. The tuition is paid for and waived by Lone Star College. We pay for books, any fees, any field trips, all of the professor requests. So it's an outstanding opportunity for students. In addition to that, this year alone, we've already had a commended scholar based on their PSAT score from last year. We had a national Hispanic scholar based on PSAT from last year. We already have 9 students that have been accepted to their university of choice because we are a launching pad for students. So what I would ask of you is get involved with Quest. It may go a little unknown because of our small nature, but tremendous things are happening within our campus. You can follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and we are always looking for partnerships and community members to bring our students out and do service with you on Fridays. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Kim. Absolutely.
We're not trying to one-up each other, I promise. I would be remiss if I didn't mention this, and I want to say if there are any of our partners from Lone Star College in the audience, I want to say personally a very profound and deep thank you because we recently entered into a legal agreement, the same as Quest, where our students at the T-STEM Academy, their tuition and fees are also waived, and so they're attending college at no cost as well with books. And I'm forgive me for not mentioning that, but thank you deeply to our Lone Star partners.
Thank you, Kim. Terry? All right. So, we'll go back to our presenting sponsor, and this would not be possible without the sponsorship of Memorial Hermann Northeast. So, to hear all the great things happening over there, help me welcome Mr. Noel Cardenas.
Good morning. I also want to thank the Quest program because we see these kids in the hospital all the time, and they do wonderful work, and we very much appreciate them being there. But we also know that that's part of our healthcare leaders of the future. So we thank you for giving us that opportunity to share our campus with them. So just a quick update on Northeast. Next slide. Oh, you've got it. Down is forward. All right, so big news for us next month with the grand opening of our new tower. So please come out and join us on November 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. So we're going to showcase the facility. We're going to provide tours. We'll have a lot of community leaders out there. This event is open to the community, and we'll also have some complimentary refreshments. One thing that we've added to the first floor of this new tower is a brand new cafeteria as well as a Starbucks. So if you're looking for a good cup of coffee, just come on in. But again, reminder, this is November 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. The other great news is our Kingwood Convenient Care Center, which you all know last year was flooded during Harvey. That grand opening is set for November 13th, so we're going to be pretty busy with 2 grand openings that week in November. But we're really excited about this. It's finally here. We're finishing up the last touches. In fact, I'll be walking through with a bunch of our leaders tomorrow morning through the facility just as we finish up some of the things as part of that. It'll have, of course, a 24-hour emergency room, a primary and specialty care services, and sports medicine rehab, diagnostic imaging, and lab services. Again, it's on the corner of Kingwood Drive and Westlake, Houston, there with the HEB anchor. So come out and join us. We will also have the week after when it opens, officially opens on the 19th of November. If you come by, stop by, and tour the facility, there's a nice gift there for you as a token of our appreciation to the community. Everybody knows that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you can see there the photo on the lower right that we took last year. We'll be doing that again with our Pink Out Day at Northeast. But again, so here's some key statistics with regards to breast cancer awareness. There is an In the Pink luncheon on November 19th, and that is hosted by the Northeast Hospital Foundation, and we're really happy to support them and their effort. I'm sorry, October. November's just tracking my head. So October 19th. Sorry about that. So come on out. There's still a few seats left, and so join us. And with that, we also want to welcome a new breast surgeon to the community. Dr. Yoga comes to us from Florida. You can see there all her credentials. She is fellowship trained in breast surgical oncology, and she will be working on our campus in support of the community. So again, thank you all for everything that you all are doing for our community, and thank you for allowing us to serve you all.
Thank you, Noel. See, next we have Jeannie Giavatti, Project Manager, and Chris Rosco, Senior Project Manager from Intech Civil Engineers, to talk about the TxDOT 1960 project, which everyone wants to hear about, especially those of us that drive it every day. Hi, how are you? Thank you.
Thank you for having me here. Appreciate it. I'm Jeannie Giavatti. I work for TxDOT, Texas Department of Transportation, in the Houston District. I work in Consultant Contracts Administration, which means I get to work with all the great consultants we hire. And I am the project manager for both segments of FM 1960. There's the west segment, which was what we're here today about, from BF 1960A to a little bit east of Twigsworth Lane, and then I previously gave a presentation on the east segment, which goes from roughly Twigsworth Lane to the San Jacinto River Bridge. We are currently about 60% design. We stalled a little bit to make some changes. We have to do more investigation of utilities. The east segment actually has to do a little redesign to incorporate some beams from another project. The right-of-way acquisition is in full bloom. They are the west segment is currently under the right-of-way coordinator, Carl Rankin. So I know because I deal with them almost, on a weekly basis, parcel by parcel. So we are expected to let by May 2020, which gives us a little time for the right-of-way acquisition and for the utility relocations. That being said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Chris Rosco, who is the project manager for Intech on this project, and he's going to give a short presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeannie. As Jeannie mentioned, I'm Chris Rosco. I work for Intech Civil Engineers. We are their prime consultant for the project. We're having a little bit of, there we go. Good. Without the pictures, it really doesn't do much. Anyway, this is, I have to admit, this is my first Bizcom meeting. It's nice to see this many people involved in the improvements or preserving their community. But I just wanted to kind of briefly go over the project. I'm not sure, how much everyone is aware of what's going on, but we're responsible for segment 1, which runs from BF 1960A to Twigsworth Lane. There's another consultant that is doing the segment 2 or east segment from Twigsworth to just west of the lake at Atascocita. So, sorry, this threw me off a little bit. So, again, some of the things I want to go over quickly is just the location maps, an overview of what we're doing. I think everybody might be interested in the traffic control, what's the process of building this roadway, and then the schedule as well. As I mentioned, we are from BF 1960A to Twigsworth. It says end of project. That's the end of our project. The second consultant would pick up from Twigsworth to the lake. And these projects are, the thought is that they would probably be built together. So the current conditions are a 5-lane asphalt roadway with a continuous left turn lane. The improvements will consist of, it'll be all concrete pavement, storm sewer. We'll rebuild the bridge. There's one bridge at Jordan's Gully. I think that's our project. And then we have improved signing signals. There'll be CTMS on the project, which is, those, if anybody knows those message boards that tell you if there's an accident ahead, we'll have some of those. It's just a computerized traffic management system, kind of helps everything flow a little bit better together. Again, this top section kind of shows existing conditions. The next two slides are what the roadway will typically consist of is 3 lanes in each direction with raised medians. The bottom section there kind of shows as you're approaching an intersection, we'll have some right turn lanes on either side of the roadway near the intersections. Most of this, it's not every intersection, but a lot of the signalized intersections will be this way. So as regarding traffic control, the plan right now is to build temporary pavement on the south side of 1960 along the project. We'll need that temporary pavement for the next phase when we plan to shift traffic all to the south side of 1960, which is eastbound. We'll construct half of the roadway on the north side. Let's see, and which is both of those sections show that. I apologize again, I wasn't. During phase 2, on the newly constructed road, we would shift traffic back on that side and continue to build the south side of 1960. And then for the final phase, we'll come back and build the medians. at the end. We can't really build the raised medians during the traffic control because we're moving traffic back and forth, so we have to keep it flush all the way through. Our segment is right now planned to be about a 2-year project. So the traffic control will also be coordinated with the other segment. They have some bridges that are being built, so we may be running a little bit longer than we necessary on our job, but we have to make sure that the traffic stays continuous throughout if the two projects are let together. So the schedule right now is that we've already submitted 30% plans. We did that in March of this year. We just submitted 60% in September, and we're scheduled to submit our 90% plans sometime early next year. This schedule could change a little bit where with the right-of-way acquisition and environmental clearances, as soon as some of that becomes available, we may be able to accelerate that schedule a little bit. And then our 100% plans will probably be due late summer of next year. And the anticipated letting date is summer of 2020, which is when the early summer of 2020, which is when the construction will actually start. Just to let you know, we've kind of coordinated with utility companies already. Here's a list of the utility companies that we've identified on the project. We've had a preliminary meeting in February of this year, and we had a follow-up meeting in July after we submitted our 60% plans. We just heard that there's a possibility, we heard this morning, there's a possibility that CenterPoint may be moving that substation that was shown in the very first slide. So you'll see probably some construction out there early on. It's utility companies moving their lines. It won't necessarily be the roadway starting just yet, but just to let you know. And I didn't know how much time I had, so that was all I have for now. But if there's any questions, I don't know if now's the time or at the end of the...
I did forget to mention Danny Perez would have been here. He's from our public information, but he was called away at the last minute for the meeting on 6/10/69. That's a very high-profile project ongoing. So he said we could handle. So yeah, you can always... Yes, ma'am. Okay, here's my experience. We currently have a letting date of May 2020. A letting is when the contractors bid, and we automatically select the lowest bidder wins. It's a state law. And it usually takes about, I'd say, 4 months before they get going, because they have to do quite a bit of paperwork through Austin to get their contract going. I usually see it takes a few months. And so I would say really it might be fall before you actually see them working. Sometimes if it depends on the company, if it's Williams Brothers, they'll be out there in a couple weeks. So it really depends on which contractor wins it. Well, because it is tied to the east segment. The east segment has a double-decker section. So it goes over 4 intersections. Well, it's just one big long section going over 4 intersections. They're showing 3 years. Now, if the same contract, it's possible they could combine the projects, but so far has not happened because the state likes to keep, they like to keep options open. Because if one is ready before the other, they're going to go ahead and let that. So it could be one contractor, could be 2, and his project would normally only take a couple years to build. So it would be a couple years on this segment of 1960. We can't quite predict how things will turn out, sometimes the district will decide to add 2 projects together at the very end if they decide it's feasible, that it would be a better option for the public. But right now, because we're in right-of-way acquisition phase, we're leaving our options open. So, yeah, and they would do it on sides, one side first, then the other. And if you notice, so far, we're keeping the turning lane in the traffic control. so that they will have as much options as they can to access the businesses. This costs us a little bit more, but they thought it was very important to keep that existing middle turn lane open during construction. Well, people don't drive right. I know that. John Elam is the area engineer. It should be built out of the North Harris area office. And during construction, that would be who you would contact if there were any issues, because they will be managing the construction. You can always contact me I will be the contact person through the design to letting, and sometimes a little after. And then once the construction gets going, it does turn over to the area office in charge. And Chris will probably be in charge of construction services to help with shop drawings. Yeah.
We'll be answering questions and things like that for contact.
This is a difficult, although it's FM roadway, it's not a freeway, but it's a difficult one because of it's full of development and utilities. So it takes a lot of work. And yeah. And yes, sir. Yes, sir. There are some businesses that will be affected, and that's why they hire professionals out of. I'm not a right-of-way expert. Carl Rankin is our TxDOT right-of-way coordinator. They actually hire professionals to handle it, that they have the right credentials. And I do know that this project impacts businesses, and that's part of the negotiation. Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of negotiation for the settlements and stuff. We actually get asked a lot of questions about individual areas, what can and cannot be done, and we look at it from an engineering point of view, and then it is the right-of-way people they hire to perform that function. We're aware. I'm not actually used to projects with so much effects, but I'm getting used to it. Yeah. There's also detention ponds. He has a lot more detention ponds planned than there's four detention ponds to mitigate. And of course, you're all aware we have to mitigate we have increased imperviousness, and we have to mitigate that. That is Harris County Flood Control. We're under their jurisdiction. Well, not under their jurisdiction, but we have to comply. So there are also, and we tried to pick off pond locations that would have the least impact. So you can always email me, jeannie.javati@texdot.gov.
One question in the back.
Yes. Yes, sir. I think so. Yeah, it's a definite, we're under the gun to get the projects done. We have the right-of-way acquisition and the utility relocations is the critical path. So he's actually slowing down on design to make sure we get all the information about the utility locations. We check for utility conflicts. We try to avoid causing more than necessary. And the design could be done much quicker, but it's acquisition of right-of-way and utilities. But yes, it's a go. It's in the construct. Any other questions?
We'll take any others afterwards.
Okay, and they can
Will you be able
always.
to stay for a little bit?
Yes, sir. We are, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. I don't know how many of you were here back in the early 80s. I got my driver's license in 81 and was learning to drive a little bit before then. But that was when they were widening 1960 from 2 lanes to the 4 with the turning lane. And that was an adventure. We called it driving through the barrels. It was nothing but barrels from where it meets the old 1960 all the way to the lake. So As part of being the Humble Bizcom, we are so fortunate to be within the city limits of Humble, and that gives us a lot of clout and certainly a lot of support, especially with the legislature and stuff. And so Jason's been in office for what, about not office, I guess, but been in the position about almost a year now, right?
10 months.
10 months. He's doing a great job. So please help me welcome City Manager Jason Stubbe.
Thank you, Scott. I am sorry I do not have a presentation, but I do have a napkin. So we'll just roll off the top here. Typically when I speak at these things, I lament every time I have to even say the word Harvey, but good news, I'm very pleased to say that we are 100% back open for business. Everybody that was in the middle of repair and rehab is now finished. From a business side, we still, of course, have homes out there that are working on that. And related to that, I do want to make a public service announcement that we do have a new Swift 911 texting program so that you can sign up and you can receive real-time alerts and information. You can access that through our city's website. Because everybody likes to go to a lunch and talk infrastructure, we've got a lot of that going on right now. Townsend Road is finished. Please don't turn it into a speedway, but it should provide a nice quicker loop around some of the congested portions of 1960. And if you on your way in or out, if you happen to look out that way, you will see a gigantic cylinder going up. That's actually topped out. That is our new elevated storage tank, about 1 million gallons. They will be putting the tank up in probably about the next 7 to 10 days. In fact, we're going out here in the next week or so to align and adjust which way the signage that says home of the Wildcats on the elevated storage tank, which the most important decision I've ever made is arguing with Sherwin-Williams over the proper shade of purple. Other than that, as far as commercial development goes, Park Air 59, that's the hard corner at 59 and Will Clayton. You'll notice a lot of tilt wall construction already going up there, but more to come. Vital Heart and Vein is chugging along there. We have a prospective retailer that's looking to come in, as well as several warehouse and distribution hubs, one of which is 600,000 square feet, and to my understanding is the largest of its kind in the entire greater Houston metro area. So while it's hard to get excited about warehouse and distribution, what you can get excited about is that's turning into a catalyst for the properties around it, behind it, and the pad sites in front of it. And so it's kind of creating a little synergy down in that portion of the city, and we're very excited about that. I do want to remind you, our annual Christmas parade, it's October and I'm going to talk Christmas, but the Christmas parade is Tuesday, December the 4th at 6:30 in downtown on Main Street. As always, you're more than welcome. And this year it'll be celebrating the school district's 100-year anniversary, so be sure to come on down to City Hall and buy up those ornaments for me. Other than that, the only other thing that I would like to do, and this is pretty cool because he has done so much in such a short amount of time, and quite frankly, he has made me look good. And that's our new fire chief, who we hired back in July of this year, Mr. David Langenberg, and I'd like to invite him up here to introduce himself and talk a little bit about the Humble Fire Department and the bang-up job that he's doing.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity to come out here and be introduced. So thank you very much. The City Council and Jason Stubbe, the City Manager for the City of Humble, have done a tremendous job with the vacancy in the fire department for the fire chief position. They not just bragging on myself, but they've done a great job in recognizing what the needs are in the area and taking a progressive and proactive stance for public safety. And in doing that, one of those things that they did was they went out and did a worldwide search for the absolute best fire chief they could find